Okay. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you guys here today and to tell you about what we're doing. So as she mentioned, my name is Matthew Anderson, and I'm the CEO of ANK Robotics, and we make autonomous vehicles. We're a company based in Vancouver, Canada, and we're here today to talk to you about the new innovation that we're trying to build together. So the way we work, how we live, how we move, and how the things around us move is changing. We believe that AI and robotics stands to drastically improve the world for the better, and specifically autonomous mobility has the potential to change the world for the better. So what we're building is an iconic mobility platform that will change the way we move around the world, and we're starting in airports. So right now, over 63 million people need assistance every year getting from place to place in airports. This is a manual activity that's very costly, it's very complicated, and it's a growing problem largely because of the aging population. For travelers, getting around at airports can also be a very stressful experience. So our solution is an autonomous mobility platform that's going to help replace manual wheelchairs in golf courts in airports. We're breaking down barriers to mobility. I like to paint the picture with my dad. He's 68 years old and he's mobile. He's able to walk around, but he's got a recurring knee problem that makes it hard for him to go long distances. So the initial use case that we're applying this to is people like my dad. So when he's landed at an airport to make a connection, he's able to walk off the plane, walk up to one of our autonomous people movers, put his carry-on on it, sit down, scan his boarding pass, and will automatically take him to the gate he's trying to get to. So no longer does he need to walk long distances, but more importantly, no longer is he reliant on asking others for help to get where he's trying to go. That's what we're trying to build. So I'd like to share with you a little bit about the background of our company. This is not our first product. We are a small startup, but it's not our first product. We started almost 5 years ago, and the technology that we built was a brain that we could attach onto anything with wheels and turn that thing with wheels into a self-driving vehicle. And as a stepping stone to get to this point of helping to move people, we said, let's move something really big that if we hit a wall, we'll make a hole, and use that to prove our technology. So we started off in the janitorial industry, and what you see here on the screen is our brain attached onto a large cleaning machine, cleaning at the Vancouver International Airport. This airport has been rated #1 airport in North America for more than 8 years in a row. It's like the Changi of North America, and there a robot has cleaned every night for over a year. Now we're taking this technology and we're applying it to help people that face mobility challenges. So we started off in janitorial as a stepping stone, and now we're using this to help move people. Basically, the technology, the core technology is the same. It's how you get around in an environment accurately and reliably and consistently. And when you're moving people, that's what really matters. So since 2018, when we built our first prototype of the autonomous people mover, we've had a series of paid pilots with different airports in North America and in Europe. And we recently just signed our first deal for over $1 million with one of these customers in Europe, and we're very excited about that. So what you see on the left there is the prototype that we've been using for our trials. And we're at the really fun stage of figuring out what we want this to look like when we commercialize this coming year in 2020. Unfortunately, there is often a stigma attached to people that are in wheelchairs and to wheelchairs themselves, where when people look at the wheelchairs, they think to themselves, oh, thank goodness I'm not in that person's situation. It's really a shame because it really shouldn't matter. But either way, we want to turn that around. We want people to see people going by in our autonomous people movers and think to themselves, how do I get one of those? Like, I want one of those for myself. Okay, so I could talk about this all day, but I've got a short 1-minute video clip so that you can get a glimpse of what our prototype actually looks like in action. And there's audio, I think. There we go. Thanks. ANK Robotics was built on a shared vision that robotics and AI will be able to change the world drastically for the better. We've used the most advanced self-driving technologies to make a personal mobility platform that can take you autonomously through the most complex transit systems in the world, safely and without stress. We want to make traveling more accessible, breaking down barriers for mobility, and helping people get where they need to go. We call these platforms APMs, which is short for Autonomous People Movers. And the first place we're going to use them is in airports, taking the place of traditional wheelchairs. At A&K Robotics, we've spent almost 5 years building advanced technologies in the autonomous vehicle space and believe in a future of AI where people and machines work together on a day-to-day basis. We're so excited about the application of this technology and the impact that it could have on communities and on people's lives. Okay, so we're helping to build airports of the future, and we're increasing accessibility. But what we're doing is much more than that. We're trying to take potentially stressful experiences and turn them into empowering experiences. The idea that the way that we're trying to do this is with information. When you have the information about how long it's going to take for you to get to your gate, how long it's going to take for you to get to a bathroom, and how much time you have available until your flight takes off. Now you have this information, and it reduces anxiety, reduces stress, and it gives you the information required to do things that you might want to do when you're in the airport. And basically, it allows us to take this dwell time, this stressful dwell time at airports, and turn it into time when you can be shopping or doing whatever you want to do. I met a gentleman earlier today, his name was Sultan, and he told me, he's like, all I want to do is be able to get a coffee without having to ask someone to help me get a coffee. And so with this system, when you get to an airport and you're in a rush and you need your morning coffee, you can go right onto our graphical user interface and get the list of all the Starbucks in the airport, and it can take you there on the way to your gate, in addition to telling you the information about how long it will take you to get there so that you don't have stress. Okay, so we want to be able to get people where they want to go when they want to get there. And as I mentioned on the last slide, it's much more than just increasing accessibility. One example that I want to talk about that starts to get outside of airports is with Uber and curbside usage for ride-hailing companies. So right now, if you're someone who does use Uber or Lyft or any of the other ride-hailing companies, often it takes forever to find the Uber curbside at the airports. And when you finally find the Uber station, you've missed your Uber and you have to wait 10 minutes for it to circle back around again. It's also a very chaotic and stressful experience. Now we have the opportunity for our system to talk with the Uber systems so that when you get there and you're 12 minutes away from the Uber curbside, first, you don't need to find it. And second, when you get there, we have an opportunity for a synchronized handoff between you and the ride hailing. No more congestion at the curbside and no more stress, chaotic environment for you to get your Uber. Side note, I am pushing as hard as I can for Uber and Lyft to become more accessible because right now they're kind of lacking in some of those areas. Okay, so I have a few more minutes. I'll talk a little bit more in details if you're curious. An example customer that we're working with serves 65,000 PRM requests per month. They have almost 700 full-time people dedicated just to provide these services. It's costly, but more importantly, it's confusing and it's not fulfilling for these people. When I did my first tour, what did I see? I saw pockets of 10 to 15 of these staff throughout the different terminals. And what were they doing? They were on their phone using Facebook. They were hoping and using Facebook so that their minds wouldn't waste away as they wait for flights to come in. We want to change this. We want to change it from being a commodity of moving people to being these people's focus being customer service oriented. Instead of walking behind people to push them, we want them to walk beside them and give them that personal experience rather than just personal transportation. Okay, to implement this, we're always trying to find ways to do it that work for the market because we believe we have to have mutual alignment between businesses, not-for-profit organizations, and the people that we really serve when we're going on our vision to help break down barriers to mobility. So this on the right is one of the old demos of our what we call AOFM, Airport Operations Fleet Management System. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is that we want to make it simple for the airport operators and service providers to be able to use our APMs. So basically it's a visual-based system at the moment that's desktop-based, and you will see if you're managing the APMs rolling around in the airport, you will see a map of the airport, you'll see a list of your APMs on the left column, and then you'll be able to mobilize them whenever you want from this desktop unit. So instead of having to go down a list of calling all the different people to find out, if they're available to help someone at gate C32, now you can go in the system and see right away which APMs are available and mobilize them immediately. This will help reduce the wait time that people will have when they're waiting for their assistance. Okay, so there's many different ways that we look at our business, and if you're curious how a startup works, this is one of the perspectives that we use. It's based on who the demographics are that we're targeting to solve problems for. So one of the first not-for-profits that I met with to discuss about the vision that we had was the Cerebral Palsy Association of British Columbia. And when I met with them, one of the first things they told me was not one person with CP is like another person with CP. How are you going to solve all these different challenges that people face? And the answer is by strategy and thoughtfulness. So we've broken our focus into 4 phases. The first phase of what we're doing is focus on people with minor mobility challenges. This is like in the airports with the WCHR category of people that are able to walk but not able to walk long distances. And this represents in airports about 60 to 70%, depending on the airport, of the passengers that are traveling that need assistance. So the idea is that we're focused on people that can't go long distances, but they're able to walk in and out of the bathroom on their own. This way we can start developing a product and commercializing right here, right now, and hopefully eventually get to other challenges in the future when our technology is ready for it and more advanced. So the second phase that we're focused on is helping people that have or face minor cognitive capacity limitations. So for example, this might be someone who recently is recovering from a stroke or is recovering from a recent stroke, where they're able to take public transit and subways generally. They know where they need to go, but they avoid rush hour because of the stress and the complications involved in going through a rapid transit system in rush hour. So this is something that the next stage is for us to work with these people where they know where they need to go, but it can help reduce that stress when they get into the crowded subway systems. The third phase is where we want to start working with people that are in wheelchairs full-time or need assistance full-time. And this is going to be challenging, but the vision is that we'll have an A&K module. So when you go to get outfitted at a store of the vendor of your wheelchair, the idea is that when you're getting outfitted for the next chair that you're going to have, say they're fitting you out for the neck rest, the headrest that you need, well, you'll have an opportunity to get the A&K module. And this is basically a hands-free, semi-autonomous module so that you have the independence of driving wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go. But say you get into a mall and you just want to find a way to get to the Virgin Electronics store and you don't know where it is, you can flip the switch to go into autonomous mode and it will take you to that store on its own. So you can get to the store driving yourself, whatever way you want, but when you're in the mall, flip it into autonomous mode and it will take over. The fourth phase is what we're most excited about on my team. I call this the open source phase, and for any of you guys that are in computer science, my team will be quick to probably agree with you that it's not technically open source, but I use it anyways because it's the word that I understand. So the vision of this fourth phase is that right now, as I mentioned with the cerebral palsy example, we can't solve every problem that's out there. So if there's a problem where there's only 100 people in the whole world that have this challenge, and there's a professor at MIT that wants to solve this problem. Then with our open source phase, the idea is that this professor at MIT can use our system as a platform to develop and roll out the technology that he's developing. And the idea here is that we can hit the biggest spectrum of challenges as possible and go much beyond what we as an individual company is able to do. Okay, so there's a lot of future markets even beyond just subway systems and airport systems. We're talking about guided art tours at museums. The next time you're in Paris and you want to do a 6-hour art tour, but your feet hurt, well, you should be able to use one of our APMs to take you around for that guided art tour. We're talking about first and last mile transportation gap that exists in smart city plans around the world. Nobody knows how to solve this. This is exactly where the APM fits into our future. It doesn't make sense for you to take Hyperloop to get to a city center and then get out of the Hyperloop and take a full-size autonomous vehicle to get your last mile. It just doesn't make sense. What makes sense is for you to use a small carbon footprint, small physical footprint autonomous people mover that's personal to take you that last mile when you get out of the Hyperloop or the rapid transit system. So these are the things we're working on. Okay, I want to thank everyone for the time today to present to you. It's a very exciting time for mobility and for transportation. I'm very excited to be a part of it, and thank you for your time.